No.
Hey, folks, this is Mark Chestnut. This is real live, real music.
Okay, one more time, but let's go with Tracy Byrd. Y'all ready? All right.
Hey, folks, this is Tracy Byrd, and this is real live, real music.
Real life, real music radio. With your host, Kyle Hutton.
Man, it's good to see you.
Well, good to see you, too. Thanks for having me back to do one of these great shows you put on all the time.
Well, thank you. It's good to have you back. And, I'm just going to point out at the very beginning of our show here, the disparity that exists in the types of gigs that you play. Okay?
Yeah.
Because on Saturday night, you were playing to 30,000 people.
No, it was actually closer to 50,000 people.
Give or take 20.
At Globe Life Field, Ranger Stadium. Now, Jody he actually was his boss. I said a while ago, I think I sold 500 tickets, and Cody Johnson sold the rest of them, But Cody's nice enough to bring he always has the token old guy out there with him, and I love being his token old guy, the 90s guy that he brings out there.
Well, he loves 90s country music.
He does.
I think we've got some other people in here tonight that love 90s country music. So you already know how this deal goes. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, but maybe we should just kick it off. Kind of where it started for you. Let's go to that first number one hit that you had called "Holdin' Heaven."
Oh, okay.
Tell us about that one. And Tracy, I want to point out to everybody, in case you're a songwriter in the audience, there are still artists out there that look for songs written by songwriters. I mean, people that are out there on the search for just the best songs that they can find. And I think one of the coolest things about you and your career has been your ability to pick songs.
Well, I was not a great songwriter, and so I had no choice but to try to go find good songs. And the greatest writers in the world are in Nashville. I mean, anybody. We love Texas, and there are great writers in Texas, no doubt. But anybody that ever comes to me and says, I want to write songs, I was like, well, you better get to Nashville then, because that's where the best ones are, being written. And we had a good run, with catching a few songs, I had several hits that Tony Brown was my producer, and he also produced George Strait, and so George Strait gets every song in town. He gets all the good songs, and so the ones that would fall through the cracks and be done, they wouldn't cut for him. I got a couple of those through the years, and so you just hope you grab a hold of one occasionally.
Well, where'd you find this one, "Holdin' Heaven"?
This one. So my first record, Keith Stegall was producing my first record, and Keith was also producing Alan Jackson, produced all the Alan Jackson records. But we finished a record, and when we went to MCA with it, and I felt the same. I just didn't feel like we had that song. We had some good songs, and we ended up releasing one or two of the ones that we had cut with Keith. But so I discussed it with Tony Brown, and I said, I think we're missing something here, And so Tony said, well, why don't we go back in and cut, let's go back in and do one session, cut 3 songs, and see what we can find, And so Tony, there was a guy from Texas, Bill Kenner, who was a buddy of mine and a friend of Tony's, and he brought us this song, "Holdin' Heaven." And we loved it, and then we went in and cut "Someone to Give My Love To," the old Paycheck thing, and also did a duet called "Out of Control, Raging Fire" with the late, wonderful, beautiful Dawn Sears, who was one of the greatest singers ever, and so that we ended up putting those 3 on there and pulling 3 of the ones, the weaker ones off of the record.
Wow. So all 3 of those were in one session?
Yeah, those were all 3 in one session, yeah. And 2 of them were hits,
Yeah.
And we had hits on "Someone to Give My Love To" and this one.
Yeah.
But this one was the first number one, so.
Let's hear it.
I'm face to face with an angel. How'd you get those eyes so blue? Your vision in white, and I've been waiting all night just to have one dance with you. Now my dreams are coming true. I'm holding heaven in my arms tonight. Everything about you is so perfectly right. Well, I've never been there, but I think I might be holding heaven in my arms tonight. I'm not sure where you came from, but I thank my lucky stars above that I got the chance to have a dance, but one dance just ain't enough. I think I'm falling in love. I'm holding heaven in my arms tonight. Everything about you is so perfectly right. Well, I've never been there, but I think I might be holding heaven in my arms tonight. Hold on, Chad. I'm holding heaven in my arms tonight. Everything about you is so perfectly right. But I've never been there, but I think I might be holding heaven in my arms tonight. I'm holding heaven in my arms tonight. That's right.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Mr. Chad Ware on the guitar here.
Yeah. Howdy, Chad.
How's it going?
Good to see you. All right. So, who picked the Paycheck song? Did you pick that one?
I did. There's a so we went in there when we found Holding Heaven, and then we found the duet song, and then he said we need one more song. I said, you know, down at Cutter's in Beaumont, which was the club I'd played for several years with Chestnut, and I said I do a lot of Paycheck stuff, you know, and I said I do Don't Take Her, She's All I've Got, and I do Someone to Give My Love To, and so we sat there and messed around with both of them, and I sang both of them for him, and he said let's do Someone to Give My Love To. He said, but let's don't forget about that Don't Take Her, She's All I Got. He said, let's come back to that a few albums from now. He said, don't forget about that one. So we ended up, you know, having hits on 2 Paycheck remakes, really.
You want to play one of them for us?
Sure. Which one you want me to play?
Anyone?
That's what I figured everybody wanted. Don't Take Her. How many tunes? I don't have a tuner.
You want this one?
Oh, you got one over there? Well, I'm out bad. Hold on.
You want me to plug you in? Y'all just remember that our version of the show that you listen to on Maverick
Close
Radio
enough.
on Saturday nights, you won't hear Tracy Byrd tuning because it's edited for rebroadcast. But on the video podcast, it's unedited in case you ever want to see Tracy Byrd tuning again. So
You don't see that. I'm still no good at it after all these years. Here you go. Ready? Give me a bit. Well, I said, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. Please She's everything in life I'll ever need. She is life when I wanna live. She's everything to me in life that life can give. She's my water when I need a drink. She's the first thought in my mind each time I try to think. Let me tell you now, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. Please don't take her love away from me. Hey, I'm begging you, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. She's everything in life I'll ever need. Play it, son. She's my fingers when I wanna feel, and she's the only thing in life to me that's really real. She is love, but she's all the love I know, and she could kiss the ground in the winter time and make a flower grow. Let me tell you now, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. Please don't take her love away from me. Hey, I'm begging you, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. She's everything in life I'll ever need. Let me tell you now, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. Yeah, I said, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. You hear me talking to you, friend, now don't take her, she's all I've got. She's everything in life I'm ever gonna need. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
That's a good one. All right, are y'all doing okay out there? Is everybody good so far? All right, video crew, we good? Manny, where's Manny? Y'all give Manny a round of applause for making everything sound so good.
Thank you,
Manny,
Manny.
you got good signal on everybody? Everybody good? Y'all got what you need in the wedge there? All right. So, okay, you brought up Cutters. Anybody go to Cutters when it was, okay, so we got a couple of folks fought their way out of Cutters.
All right. Man.
That's old school. So, a lot
They
of...
took your knife at the door and handed you a gun.
There was something in the water down there in the late '80s and early '90s. Tell us a little bit about that scene. And so you got you and Chestnut and Walker and know,
and then if you go back further, you go back to the '50s and the '60s, and you had you had George Jones, obviously,
yep.
Coming out of there, and you had Moon Mulligan or before that, and I tell you, there was a guy named Benny Barnes that was back in the '50s that never quite made it in Nashville big, but I mean, he should have. He was so good. I mean, he was like classic Lefty Frizzell type, stuff. And there's just been so many great singers and players from there. Cliff Bruner was, spent some time in Beaumont, and then of course, our era was Chestnut first, and then I was right behind Chestnut, and then Walker Clay was right behind me. We were kind of all right there in a row, and hit, and it was a good time in music. Garth had kind of blew everything wide open, and we were kind of just riding in that wake, of the craze, he kind of made country, pop again, and like really popular music, and everyone was into that whole scene, and we definitely benefited from that,
So how did it like transpire that they who found Chestnut, and then how did that translate into finding you and finding Clay?
Well, I can't tell you a lot about Clay's deal. I really don't remember exactly, because he ended up on with James Stroud and Giant, and but my deal and Chestnut, of course, got signed by MCA, and when he got signed, I was playing with this other band that I had together, and I was playing across town at a place that at the time was called Country Fever, but it was a legendary building. It was a place called Yvonne's back in the day. I mean, and it was like the honky tonk for 40 years in Beaumont. Everybody that came through town, big stars, country stars would come through there and play, and I was playing over there. And Dan Wentworth, the guy that owned Cutters, come over to me, and I knew, Mark and I were already friends, and I would go. It was funny because before that, when I didn't even have a gig, I would go into Cutters, and usually on a Sunday night, because they could sneak me in, because I wasn't old enough to be in there, and they'd bring me in, and Chestnut would say, "Hey man, what's going on? You want to get up and sing one?" I said, "Yeah, I'll get up, sing one or two, I'd love to." And it'd be late, last set, when he'd call me up. He'd go up, start the third set, which was the last set, and then he'd say, "I'm gonna get my buddy Tracy Byrd up here," and I'd get up there and I'd sing one song, and then the band would go, "Do another one." I said, "I'd do another one," and I'd say, "All right, where you at, Mark?" And they go, "Oh, he left." And so I'd end up doing all his work for him for that last set. But anyway, so Mark and I knew each other, real good, and so when the deal started and MCA was going to sign Mark, had really already signed Mark. Well, Dan come over to that club and asked me if I would like to come, because Mark was going to go to Nashville, cut a record. They sent him through all of this media school, and think they had his teeth fixed, and they put Chestnut through the ringer because they knew how good he was. Chestnut still, to me, especially in that prime time back then, was one of the greatest country singers I've ever heard in my life. I mean, he could sing anything, back then. Any artist he could. Of course, he had his own sound, which was incredible. But then if you wanted him to imitate somebody, he could imitate anybody and sound just like Merle Haggard, just like George Jones, just like Ray Price, just like Johnny Bush, just like Willie Nelson. He was just amazing at it. And so I think they knew what they had, and so he was gone. He was gone for months. And so I knew this band I was with was not going to be my band, it was just what at the time, and so he said, you have to leave your band. He said, but I want you to come over here and start playing with Mark's band at the club, 5 nights a week. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, and because I knew I could learn a lot from Mark's band too. He had this guitar player named Glenn Gordon in, and Glenn and I had gotten really close, and Glenn's the one who told Dan, he said, you better go over and get Tracy Byrd, what you better do. He said, if you want somebody to take over when we leave, he said, that's the guy. And so Glenn really got me that gig, and so I come over there and played with them, and then Mark would come home, and then when he'd come home, we'd just swap off sets, and we did that for several months until they finally went on the road, and then I put together another band, and we took over from there. And anyway, to say that's a long story to say. I then went to Nashville and talked to MCA, and they were like, "Well, we just signed Mark Chestnut and we just signed Marty Brown," which I don't know how many of y'all know Marty Brown, but probably not a lot of you. But
was great.
Yeah, but he wrote "I'm from the Country," in fact, and I ended up cutting a Marty Brown song, later on in my career. But and they said we just don't need any more traditional singers, traditional hat acts, and so I said okay, so I went to Nashville and did a showcase. We took the band, did a 30-minute showcase. We put it on ourselves. Did it at this 928 Performance Hall in downtown Nashville, and Jimmy Bowen showed up, and Ray Pillow. How much stories you want me to tell? Because I could go a long time.
I'm enjoying it.
I feel like I'm getting a little long though, because this could get long, man. But there was a man named Ray Pillow, Ray was a singer back in the '60s, and he was working for Capitol Records at the time, and he said, Jimmy's going to come out, and he said, now don't be upset or don't let it shake you up if he listens to 2 songs and gets up and leaves. He said that's what he does on all showcases. So Jimmy sat there the whole showcase. Then he come backstage and bought me and the band a round of drinks and was telling us all these stories about him producing Sinatra when he was just an engineer in New York, and he was telling us all these stories. And I said, dang, I think I'm on Capitol. I said, I think I'm going to get a record deal at Capitol. And I didn't. At Capitol. I got one eventually, but I say that story to say this. That was when Garth, had took off, and there was nobody knew it, but there was a big shakeup fixing to happen at Capitol. And Bowen knew it, and he knew it. He knew that when it happened, that he was probably going to be gone, And so I seen him, a couple years later after all that happened, and he said, hey, I just want to tell you, he said, I'd have signed you in a heartbeat, but he said, I wasn't going to do that to you. He said, because if I'd have signed you, he said, anything that I had my hand on, they had just swept out the door when I left, And he said, he said, I knew you were going to get a deal. He said, but I would have loved to, produce you, And anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. But
very cool.
Can I tell a story about him producing Sinatra?
Yes.
Oh, you got to hear it. It's so good. It's brilliant. So he was an engineer in New York, young, and somehow he ended up. They asked him to produce this record on Sinatra. He's in his early 20s, and he's got a 65-piece orchestra set up out there. Jimmy was a bass player by trade, so he's getting no respect from these classical musicians, they're treating him like a dog. Just no respect at all. Gets nothing done in the first session, and everybody breaks for lunch. So he goes out to the third cello, and he just flattens the E string a little bit, or one of them, I don't know exactly which one, just flattens it just a hair, just a little bit. And they all come back in, and they're out there, and he says, third cello, your E string's just a little bit flat. And he goes, no, it's not. He goes, check it. He checks it, and he goes, oh my God. He was like, how did you hear that? He goes, I hear everything. And he had their total respect from that point on.
Man.
Anyway, I just thought that was a great story.
No, that's a great story. Okay, so in honor of Mark Chestnut going to charm school and getting his teeth fixed, I think we need to play.
I don't know that they got his teeth fixed.
Well, we're going with that, Tracy.
I just kind of was saying they were doing a lot. They did look good when he come back, though.
I think in honor of Mark, you need to play Lifestyles of the Not So Rich and Famous. That's about as country as we can get in here.
Oh. Let me plug that tuner in over here. This thing keeps...
You good, Manny?
I know it. You know how I am with Chad's like, I tuned it before we started. I said, but I get out here and I put the capo on and I catch a string on the way down and I bend it and A little sharp, huh? Mm-hmm. I could have just had Jody come up here and tune it for me.
Oh, man. So while he is tuning, I'm going to welcome. They just spent some time with us. Upstairs. Not only is Jody Bartula, band leader for Cody Johnson Band, who Tracy played a show with in Arlington the other night, but his lovely wife, Marcy Bartula, is here with us, and she's the founder of Different Day Foundation in Bryan, Texas. And there's a lot of really cool stuff going on and some really important work that's going to happen this next year through Different Day Foundation. So y'all just stay tuned. I'll be talking about it from up here, but be watching for stuff that's going on in town. And I'll just tell you from my perspective, my wife and I are raising two little girls that we adopted through the foster care system, and we have discovered the correlation between a lot of those kids, like our girls that we met down in family court in Harris County, that wind up being pulled into a life of sex trafficking. And what Different Day Foundation does is rescues girls like that didn't get the chance that my girls did to be adopted into a safe home, and the work they're doing is so important. And man, just when you hear about it, let your ears perk up, learn a little bit more about it. There's a lot of ways to get involved. So, Marcy, thank you for everything you're doing to make this a better place.
Well, honey, they're bringing out a TV crew. They want to do a story about me and you. They'll be stringing up bright lights in the backyard, cameras on the shoulders, reading cue cards, leaving long johns on the line. If the kids look dirty, that'll be just fine. They're gonna put us on lifestyles of the not so rich and famous, and see us go hog wild over beans and barbecue. They want to see my filling up on blocks, the holes in all our songs. We're talking about lifestyles of the not so rich and famous. Well, now tell them about your mama and the bowling league. Tell them about Junior and his baseball team. I'll show them my 9-point buck on the wall. Blow a few times on my new duck call. Let them see old Blue, how he sleeps all day. We'll bring out the Elvis TV tray. They're gonna put us on lifestyles of the not so rich and famous, and see us go hog wild over beans and barbecue. They want to see my filling up on blocks, the holes in all our socks. We're talking about lifestyles of the not so rich and famous. Hey, our idea of a high-class living is sitting on a porch on a cool night. Our champagne and caviar, an RC cola and a moon pie. We're talking about lifestyles of the not so rich and famous. Lifestyles of the not so rich and famous.
Thank you. Good job, Chad.
God bless Mark Chestnut.
Yeah, you know, he's the best. And he's one of the funniest guys you ever be around. And a lot of people don't realize he's kind of shy when he gets around people if he's not singing. But, man, when he gets relaxed, he's like a stand-up comic. It's hilarious.
He did our show one time over at Do Si Do. And I noticed that his talkativeness was directly correlated with the number of empty Miller Lite cans.
It tends to have been that way.
Yeah.
He's not drinking anymore now these days, which I'm glad to hear.
Yeah.
Me neither. I haven't drank in 15 years, so.
We're going to talk about that. So you talk about Chestnut.
I didn't say we had to talk about it.
Well, I'm going to ask you questions about it. You're going to awkwardly dodge them. Okay. Well, let's. I want to ask you about one of my favorite songs because I can't remember which record it was on. It's on one of your earlier records.
Well, I probably can't remember either.
Well, you might. It's a song called "Why Don't That Telephone Ring?"
Oh my God!
Do you remember that song?
That's on the first record.
Yeah, I thought it was. And when I first heard that song and that baritone, you know, because you don't get that every day.
That was one of those songs that we released that right after Holding Heaven.
Yep.
And that's one of those songs that, man, I mean, I'd have bet the farm on it. I thought it was going to, I said, oh my God, man, if Holding Heaven was a hit, this song's going to be just through the roof.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
I don't know what it made it to, but they played it down here.
It got into the 20s, but you know, 20s don't get you much, you know. But I thought that song was, you know, that wasn't the first time I missed. But you know, some of them, they just, you know, it has a lot more to do with just the song, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the way that song showcased your baritone voice was part of what I thought just allowed people to see how different you were from some of the other acts. Because, man, they were signing acts like crazy in the early 90s, you know. And so one of the things to me that made you stand out as totally different than the rest of the guys that were putting music out right then was this song right here.
Yeah, I thought you were joking upstairs when you said, I'm going to ask you to sing songs you hadn't played in 20 years. This is probably one of them.
Wasn't joking.
Here. But it seems like I halfway remember it. Let's see. I had the operator call me back. She said my phone is working fine. Here in Louisville it's almost dawn, but it's 2 a.m. Pacific time. I thought sure she would have called by now to tell me all about that wild and crazy LA scene. Well, I know my number's in her book. Why don't that telephone ring? Don't she know I'm anxiously waiting, longing for her long-distance call? I wish I knew what her silence is saying. If my love means anything, why don't that telephone ring? You know a song's old when you're talking about operators and phone books. She'd always had this distant dream. I said, go make it come true. And you know whatever's in the cards, I'll be right here for you. But that's been too long ago, and now I just don't know
if I'm still part of her dream. If I ever cross her mind at all, why don't that telephone ring? Don't she know I'm anxiously waiting, longing for her long-distance call? I wish I knew what her silence is saying. If my love means anything, why don't that telephone ring? I still think it's a hit.
That song is a hit.
Put it out again. Golly.
That's a hit.
Man.
I think we need some more water up here. Can we get a few more bottled waters? All right. Let's go ahead and answer. I'll go ahead and ask the awkward questions. Okay, so 15 years sober.
15 years sober. They're
Right.
not awkward. I'm just joking around. They're not awkward. It's the best thing ever happened to me, you know.
Yeah. Well, when you look at kind of the trajectory of your career, and how old were you when you put out that first record?
25.
Okay, 25 years old, you put out your first record, you get a #1 hit, you start climbing the charts, you're out running the road,
It's like Kix Brooks described it best one time. They said, Kix, what is making it in country music like? He says, like high school with money.
Exactly. So what? Gosh. Usually, there's an event or series of events that causes somebody to realize their life has become unmanageable and they got to do something about it. Where were you in your career? Like, what songs were we listening to that were out and we didn't know it, but you were hitting a brick wall?
10 rounds with Jose Cuervo.
That makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't it?
Drinking Bone, that was about that timing,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just...
Well, it was just like, 20 years of, really longer than that. I'd been drinking beer since I was in the 6th grade. That's pretty bad, huh?
No, you're from Vider.
Yeah, I am from Vider.
You started late.
I did. You're right, Kyle. I was about 3 years. Usually it's the 3rd grade in Vider. We passed through Huntsville heading home last night, and I told my wife we passed through Huntsville, and I said, I got a lot of friends living over there. No, but it was just things were just falling apart. You live a life for a long time. You live a lot of lies. You live a lot of you think you're having fun early on, and I guess you really are, in that respect, because you're young and you're stupid and you don't respect life and the way you live it. Even though I was raised a Christian and raised in church, you turn your back on all of that, or you kind of just try to turn your back on it. I think that's the reason that I got sober, is because I turned my back, but he never turned his. You know what I mean? God was always there.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a song.
Well, play it.
Now, this is on a record we did in 2017. That I actually did write a lot of songs on, but not this one. This is my buddy Win Varbo wrote this song.
First time I met Jesus was down in Georgia, on a vacant lot in an old revival tent. The preacher was calling for all the low-down sinners. I wasn't but 9 years old. I went running down to him, and my mama cried, and so did I, 'cause my little soul was saved. The next time I met Jesus, I was full of whiskey. 14 years later, on a washboard gravel road, must have been doing 60 when I hit the water. That old car started sinking fast, and I thought that I was gone. And there ain't no doubt, if he hadn't pulled me out, well, I wouldn't be here today. Well, I know I've hurt him, and I don't deserve him, but he sticks by me anyway. Do you know anybody who would help somebody after they'd slapped him in the face? Only Jesus. Only Jesus. The last time I met Jesus was at the birth of my daughter. With all that I'd done wrong, I was afraid it wouldn't go right. But she came in this world nothing less than perfect. Her little face was shining in his ever-loving light. And I thanked him then, like I thank him now, when I lay down at night. I know I've hurt him, and I don't deserve him, but he sticks by me anyway. Do you know anybody who would help somebody after they'd slapped him in the face? Only Jesus. Only Jesus.
Yeah, man. Thank you. All right, so that's one side of the redemption story. So now play us one of those songs that got you there, like Drinking Bone.
Oh, all right.
Where'd you dig that one up?
Well, that's my buddy Casey Bethard. He had written several of my songs, and I was, they do pitch sheets in Nashville. They'll do pitch sheets to all the publishers, so they get sheets saying what date a certain act is going into the studio to cut, so everybody can start writing for that guy or that girl. And of course, Casey, we talked all the time, so he knew where I was at on my song picking prospects, and I was sitting at RCA, and he knew I was over there listening to songs that morning, that I was going back in. I'd been there the day before, and then I was going back in the next morning, and so him and a guy named Kerry Kirk Phillips, another great writer, they walked in that morning, and he said, "We got to write something for Byrd," and Kerry goes, "Well, I've had this idea about the drinking bone." And they literally wrote it in 15 minutes. But it sounds like you could write it in 15 minutes. I mean, it sounds like a nursery rhyme, but it sounds like
if you live in Vidor.
Yeah, that's right. It also sounded like a hit, and it was, and so we needed one, and so we cut it, and it's like 2.5 minutes long, and it literally, I have little kids come up singing it to me all the time, because it is such a nursery rhyme, but anyway, we'll do it. All right? Yeah.
It's Friday evening, 6 o'clock, and all my friends are twisting off. I'm at the house just turning on TV. Well, they all wonder why I've changed. How many times must I explain? It's basic honky-tonk anatomy. Hey, the drinking bone's connected to the party bone. The party bone's connected to the staying out all night long. And she won't think it's funny, and I wind up all alone. And the lonely bone's connected to the drinking bone. 8, 2 plus 2 is always 4, and down is south and up is north. 32 degrees is freezing cold. With the fire you wind up burn, the early bird gets the worm. But the only thing you really need to know is the drinking bone's connected to the party bone. The party bone's connected to the staying out all night long. And she won't think it's funny, and I wind up all alone. And the lonely bone's connected to the drinking bone. Drink up now, come on. Singing with me, let's make sure you know. Hey, the drinking bone's connected to the party bone. The party bone's connected to the staying out all night long. And she won't think it's funny, and I wind up all alone. And the lonely bone's connected to the drinking bone's connected to the party bone. The party bone's connected to the staying out all night long. And she won't think it's funny, and I wind up all alone. And the lonely bone's connected to the drinking bone.
Thank you.
In case this group needed any encouragement on a Monday night after a long weekend. Gosh, are y'all doing okay out there? Is everybody good so far? Okay. Let me just very quickly acknowledge the place that we're sitting right now in this nice little speakeasy. Man, I'll tell you this, Tracy, cutting my teeth here writing songs and playing
Did
here
really?
at A&M, right?
Really? Right here?
No, not right here. Not right here.
You had a nice joint, man.
Nope, there was nothing like this. And man, to say that I was surprised that we could come back to Bryan College Station and find a place like this to have these kind of conversations and play music.
Absolutely beautiful.
It was the vision of the folks over at William Cole, Spencer, David, Justin. Man, thanks for letting us make your place our place for the Stella Sessions. And, of course, Lake Walk and this community that they're developing. My friends at Destination Bryan, I think we've got a few of them here tonight. Thank you guys for what you do to bring culture to town. And then, my buddies at Blue Forge Alliance, they really were the ones that allowed us to come here and put this show on. We did a few experimental shows, 3 shows back in 2023, but it was Blue Forge that stepped up so that we could do a full year of this here. So I want to tell you guys thank you, because not only are you working to really enhance the global community and specifically the United States of America through the work you guys do with the U.S. Navy, but you also put back into the local culture of the community right here where we get to enjoy it. So thank you guys for what you do in making this show possible. Okay. Let's real quick. Let's talk about a buddy of ours because I was here in much dumpier places than this, trying to learn how to write songs, and I took my first trip up to Nashville. It probably would have been 1991 or something like that, and
that'd have been about the time I was taking my first trip up.
Well, then it might have been 92 or something like that, because it might have been about that time, because you had not found this song yet that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because I went to town and showed up at I think it was like it was kind of a full band songwriters night at Douglas Corner. Okay, and I showed up there, went in, and
you got to remember one thing.
What?
I was drinking a lot back then.
We didn't meet that night.
Okay,
but
right,
I did meet somebody.
Because I ain't even remembering any of this.
I did meet somebody that would end up having an impact on your career, and that was a guy that had a few drinks, by the way. A guy by the name of Danny Mayo, and I met a songwriter by the name of Danny Mayo, and he showed me the town. First, he drank me under the table that night. The next day, he took me to lunch at Brown's Diner, and then took me back over to Tom Collins Publishing, and took me down into the basement to play me a bunch of songs he had written. And one of them he played me, I still have on a cassette tape on a demo at the house, a song called Keeper of the Stars. And I thought, man, that is a great song. And not long after that.
You heard it, well, no, if it was 91, you heard it long before. Because I didn't cut that till 94.
Well, you made that a big old hit.
Yeah.
That was a huge song.
I bet you had fun, though, hanging out with Danny. Golly, what a nut that guy was, man.
You got to tell the quick story.
Which one you want to tell me to tell?
Well, okay, so
the one
Danny,
when he went to rehab.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you the very short version of this. Is Danny Mayo. I show up for the first. I'm at my first writers' night in Nashville, right? And I'm like, dude, I wonder how many people in here are record executives, because I'm about to get up and sing. Make something happen tonight. And I looked over, and Doug Stone was sitting in the corner over there, and so I was really, really nervous, but I got to get up and go play. And then I came and sat back down, and this guy, a friend of mine that went to A&M here, I couldn't afford a hotel room, so I was sleeping on her couch in her apartment, and she was sitting at the table when I went up to sing. Well, when I came back down, there was this curmudgeon looking guy sitting there hitting on her, and she was looking at me like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. And so he gets up to go to the restroom, and the waitress comes over and goes, do you know who that is? And my friend's like, no, but get him away from me. And I'm like, no. And she goes, well, that's the guy that wrote Jesus and Mama and Memphis. What was the Memphis?
Queen of Memphis.
The Queen of Memphis.
You know what he wrote, though, that I love, still one of my favorite songs ever, is Feed Jake.
Oh, it's a great song.
He wrote Feed Jake.
It's a great song. And so the waitress goes, that's this guy, right, that's sitting here talking to you. And I looked at my friend and I went, take it. You just take it.
You're going to take it.
And so Danny and I
ain't saying you got to kiss him.
Yeah, that's right. You sit there and smile.
You're going to make him think you want to.
So anyway, he really took me under his wing. But Danny was a guy that man, his pendulum just swung really wide. I mean, some of the best spiritual songs I'd ever heard.
Oh yeah,
he wrote.
His emotions swung really wide.
Yeah, great.
Danny was bipolar before people really knew what that was. You know, and later in his life, he was diagnosed, and that's why he was so. Sometimes he was just the life of the party, and then other times, man, he was just not the life of the party,
right?
Know?
Yeah,
and he was fighting a lot, but he's so funny. This is a classic. This is a perfect story. If this is the one you want me to tell, I'm gonna tell it anyway. Then I'm gonna tell another one. But so Larry Boone told me this one because him and Larry Boone were good friends, and so Danny had checked himself into a posh rehab facility in the Tennessee Smoky Mountains. And on visitors weekend, after he'd been there about 4 weeks, working hard, Larry went to see him. And so they met in the room and they talked to the counselors and all this, and they said, okay, you can go show your friends your room. So they had these like little hotel rooms that they stayed in, little cottages out in the woods. And so Danny he's proud, he's taking Larry to see his little room, and they get in there and he goes, you want to get high? And Larry goes, what? He goes, and he opens a drawer and he pulls back his pajamas and his underwear, and there's a bag of weed sitting there. And he goes, no, I don't want to get high. Because it was not only, now Danny was big, so he was twofold there. He was trying to get off the drugs and he was trying to lose weight. So he says, no, I don't want to get high. He goes, oh, okay. He said, you want a Snickers?
Oh,
and he was paying
Danny.
like $40,000 to be there of his own money. And he was hiding Snickers and weed in his underwear drawer.
Man, did you know Danny's most famous, his most famous thing he ever wrote was not a song. He wrote, the best part of waking up.
Oh, yeah,
is
Folgers in your cup. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That pays forever.
Oh, man, that's great.
Look, here's another great, though. So Danny's daughter, Amy, who's just the greatest gal in the world. I mean, she wrote tons of hits. She wrote all those Tim McGraw and Faith Hill duets, and she wrote all this. But they're from Gadsden, Alabama. And so she tells me this story one night. She said, Tracy, she's so Alabama country. I mean, just beautiful girl, but man, when she talks, you're like... That's kind of how people look at me when I start talking. But she said, Tracy, we was at the fair, the World's Fair, the county fair in Gadsden, and she said, we didn't have nothing. We were so broke, so poor, Tracy. We were so poor. We lived in a little RV trailer house. She said, me and my brother and my mama and dad. This is before he went to Nashville, to write songs or ever got anything. And she said, we're so poor and we're so excited because we get to go to the fair. She said, but we didn't get to ride nothing. She said, we didn't have no money to ride anything. She said, but we were so excited. She said, the only thing we had to our name was a blue Pinto. She said, baby blue Pinto. She said, so, you could go and you could watch stuff at the fair for free. So she said, we're in the grandstands and we're about to watch a demolition derby. And Daddy says, I'm going to go get us some popcorn and a Coke. And she said, in the demolition derby, the winner was getting $250. She said, Daddy was gone a while. She said, all of a sudden the announcer said, we got a late entry, folks. Coming in the south end of the arena in a baby blue Pinto with a double zeros painted on the side. Mr. Danny Mayo. She said, oh my God, how are we going to get home? And she said, and he went out. She said, the first car that hit him, he said, smoke started coming out of the Pinto and it never moved again.
Oh, God.
That's Danny in a nutshell, man. I mean, up or down. I mean, he was something else, boy. He's gone now, but man, he was a trip. I was telling a story upstairs because he was mentioned him talking about him. I was telling Jody and Bree. Miss Bree Bagwell's here, by the way. We need to recognize her. She's so wonderful. Best lady country singer out there. But we were telling this story, and after I had a hit on Watermelon Crawl, I run into Danny, and he says, Tracy, I wrote you an answer song to Watermelon Crawl. I said, what is it, Danny? And he goes, it's called When They Grow Cantaloupes on Mars. And I said, well, how's it go? And he said, I'm going to send you the tape of it, I'm going to demo it for you. I said, all right, demo it for me. And I didn't cut it, but like me and Jody were talking after I sang him the chorus, I said, I can still remember the chorus. And I probably didn't listen to it twice, But it was, when they grow cantaloupes on Mars, I'll come back to you. When they serve quiche in sushi bars and politicians tell the truth. When the World Fair comes to Gadsden, Alabama, and a cow really jumps the moon. When they grow cantaloupes on Mars, I'll come back to you. How'd I miss it? That was another hit right there.
Oh, man.
I'd have got free fruit and melons forever.
Golly. Keeper of the Stars. Play that
All
one
right,
for
yeah,
us.
this is the one Danny wrote. And he wrote it. Now, this one he didn't write by himself. He wrote it with Karen Staley and Dickie Lee. You might remember Dickie was a singer in probably the 50s, early 60s. He spent a lot of time in Beaumont, actually. He also wrote Patches, which was, B.B. King recorded it, Conway recorded it. It was a big hit. But anyway, but they wrote this one here. And this won Country Song of the Year in '95. That seems like forever, but well, it was no accident me finding you. Someone had a hand in it long before we ever knew. And now I just can't believe you're in my life. Heaven smiling down on me as I look at you tonight. I tip my hand to the keeper of the stars. He sure knew what he was doing when he joined these two hearts. I hold everything when I hold you in my arms, and I've got all I'll ever need, thanks to the keeper of the stars. Soft moonlight on your face, oh how you shine. Well, it takes my breath away just to look into your eyes. And I know I don't deserve a treasure like you, but there really are no words to show my gratitude. So I tip my hand to the keeper of the stars. He sure knew what he was doing when he joined these two hearts. I hold everything when I hold you in my arms, and I've got all I'll ever need, thanks to the keeper of the stars. Well, it was no accident me finding you. Someone had a hand in it long before we ever knew. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Good song. Anybody dance to that in their wedding or have that? Yeah, okay. Yep, that was a big one. That was a big one. Okay, speaking of, Big Love.
Big Love.
Big Love. I love that song. Now, that video was shot back before they were using like CGI or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm imagining some big helicopters flying around you and
Helicopters, and we were at like 9,000, 10,000 feet up in Winter Park, Colorado. We shot the video 2 days, and then shot the whole album cover and everything in between takes on the video. Did everything there. And that song was. That song had been cut already. I was kind of on this Jeff Stevens thing at that time. Jeff's, he produces Luke, Brian, and but back then he was just writing mostly, and he had an artist deal when he first came to Nashville, and then he just started writing songs, and man, he was just everything he sent me I was loving, and he's a great singer, so he was always singing the demos, and I was more of a fan maybe of his singing than I was even of the songs, but he had re-demoed that, or the demo had gotten back out on that one. Chris Ledoux had cut it, and yeah, absolutely. And Chris had done, I don't know, just a different version of it. It really didn't rock like mine. This is probably the most rocking song that I ever cut, if you could even call it that. I don't know, but I don't know how to rock. But I was trying, and we cut Big Love, and it's just I still love singing it, and I love the song, and I love all my songs though. I hear people sometimes, or have heard people say, I'm so tired of singing that. Man, how do you get tired of singing a hit? I don't know. They give you, they give you everything you got, but yeah, Big Love, great video, great song, good album. I really love that album.
It's a great one. You want to play that one for us?
Let's see if we can do this, Chad. Chad and I don't ever do this. We don't even do acoustic shows anymore. We just play full band shows, so we did not rehearse or practice or even talk about what we were going to do tonight. See you at 5 o'clock. That's all it was. So I'm kind of throwing Chad out there. He's just hanging on. So here we go.
Fences for you to look through with your heart caught in a stranglehold. I've got a love full of wide open spaces. I got a big love, wild and free, room to grow as big as your dreams, deep as a river in a raging flood, endless as the stars above. I got a big love. When two hearts make a stand together on the solid rock of trust, they could be a million miles from each other, still be side by side in love. I wanna love you like that forever. I got a big love, wild and free, room to grow as big as your dreams, deep as a river in a raging flood, endless as the stars above. I got a big love.
right, so in your seat tonight, you should have had this little handout. It says "Raising a Hand." It's got a picture of Kevin Black on the front. You know, his brother Clint Black has contributed to this book called "Raising a Hand," along with hundreds and hundreds of other artists, including Mr. Tracy Byrd, who's in Volume 2 and Volume 3 on pages 109 and page 20, respectively. And this is the...
Right beside my buddy Tracy Lawrence. He's on the other page.
There you go.
I've been a groomsman or best man in all of his weddings.
Tonight, when you leave, if you don't already have a copy of this, the Raising a Hand series, I don't know how many hundreds of artists there are in all three of these, but all of the proceeds go to benefit families that have little girls with Rett syndrome. I saw a bunch of you pick these up last time we had a show. I appreciate you doing that. If you don't have one, stop by and see my buddy Dave Clements out there. The newest version, Volume 3, has the history. I was so honored. They included a history of real life, real music. The last 17 years that we've been doing this, they had me write about some of my favorite shows, and they include excerpts from, shows with Billy Joe Shaver and Hal Ketchum and some of those guys that aren't with us anymore. And those are special, special memories for me that we got to write about and include some pictures in this book. Heck, you might even be able to...
How about a round of applause for Kyle?
Oh, well, thank you.
17 years. This stuff is not easy to put together, not easy to do. Not easy to convince knuckleheads like me to take the time to come and do it, and he's really, really done a great job with it. I mean, that's something to be real proud of, man.
Well, thank you.
17 years, God almighty.
That's pretty crazy, right?
It is crazy. And how many episodes in 17 years?
17 years. We've got over 350 episodes in the can. So, it's been amazing.
That's more impressive than 17 years. 350 episodes.
Well, and and when you start something, I mean, just like any other musician, you're just throwing something against the wall to see if it sticks.
Right.
We didn't even put a year. We didn't even put a year on the first poster that we did, because I mean, who would have thought it would last longer than a year, right?
Well,
so
great job,
the coolest thing has been to get to sit down with artists and have these archive stories. I mean, the episode with B.J. Thomas. And, we've just got some amazing, been able to participate in the collection of some amazing content. So that's what Kevin Black and Dave Clements, my buddy who's going to be out here after the show with this. So if you want to learn a little bit more about real life, real music and the history, if you want to get your hands on some amazing photographs, they're great coffee table books. And who knows, you may be able to corner Tracy out there and get him to sign page 120 or page 20 or wherever he is. And just for the record, I'm in Volume 1, and I'm right next to Don Williams.
My daddy's favorite.
Come on.
I love Don Williams.
He was my favorite, too. Can I play you a song?
Absolutely, you can.
I got to go, my little girls, we moved out to the country. We're out off FM 391, and we're just lucky enough that our girls are attending Franklin schools, and we have just I got to go to their Veterans Day ceremony this morning, and I couldn't be prouder to have my girls going to school there. It was just cool to see these old, Vietnam vets and veterans of the Korean War, and they had the little preschoolers lining the aisle where the veterans would walk. Wow. And the little preschoolers were high-fiving all of the veterans as they walked by. And they must have called out by name, by branch of service, and conflict served in, over 150 vets that walked through and walked down the deal. And it was just so, it was so moving, because so many places don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? And So I didn't want today to get away from me as a kid with a dad that served in Vietnam, and I know there's people in here that have served or have loved people that serve, and so I want to play this song for you. There's a truck in the driveway, leaking oil, waiting for a young man on foreign soil. A dad on the front porch with his face to the breeze, and mom in the kitchen down on her knees again. And sometimes his best friend stops by just to say hi, runs his hand down the side of that truck as he passes by. And through the window as they're talking on the couch inside, he sees that worn out windshield sticker, Semper Fi. And in the blink of an eye, things get real fast. And nothing looks the same as things looked in the past. And the flag down at the schoolhouse, it still flies the same. But freedom is different, with skin in the game. Now life is easy when it's fireworks and apple pie, and learning what it all means as a parade goes by. But there are some things you can't fully understand till the taking of an oath and the raising of a hand. Then in the blink of an eye, things get real fast, and nothing looks the same as things looked in the past. And now the anthem down at the ball game, it just don't sound the same, 'cause freedom is different, with skin in the game. Yeah, and you don't know the cost till there's a part of you that could get lost. And in the blink of an eye, things get real fast, and nothing looks the same as things looked in the past. And now that granite wall is more than just some list of names, 'cause freedom is different, with skin in the game. Yeah, freedom is different, with skin in the game. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did you write that?
I did.
Oh my God!
Finished that, wrote that with my buddy Drew Womack.
Man,
you know Drew
I know
Womack.
Drew. Yeah, I seen Drew not long ago. Wow, that's a great song. Has anybody cut that? Just asking.
Not yet.
Not yet. Wow. Is it
Not
a new
yet.
song?
I have hopes for it.
Is it a new song?
You know, I learned this about my career. A lot of my songs are new songs because nobody's heard them.
What year did you write it?
Yeah, let's see. We wrote that song. Drew and I wrote that song. It's probably about 6 years old.
Man, yeah. I can't believe that hadn't been cut.
Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you, Mr.
Fantastic
Mayor.
song.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we still got a bunch of songs to get to, but I think we should start off with for our friends. Well, let's see. We got Jody back there. I got my friend Nick, and we got Bree. I'm calling them out because they're the ones that I know love to have a good time, you know, and are probably back there doing that right now. So how about a little 10 rounds of Jose Cuervo? Let's see what that group does back there.
All right.
During this show, this part of the show.
Well, I walked in, the band just started. The singer couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. On a mission to drown her memory, but I thought no way with all this ruckus. But after one round with Jose Cuervo, I caught my boots tapping along with the beat. And after 2 rounds with Jose Cuervo, that band was sounding pretty damn good to me, yeah. Well, then some stranger asked me to dance, and I revealed to her my 2 left feet. Said, don't get me wrong, I'm glad you asked, but tonight's about me and an old memory. But after 3 rounds with Jose Cuervo, I let her lead me out on the floor. And after 4 rounds with Jose Cuervo, I was showing off moves never seen before. Never. Hey. Any of y'all ever felt like old Jose punched you in the nose a couple times? Well, around 5 or around 6, I forgot what I came to forget. After round 7, or was it 8, I bought a round for the whole dang place. And after 9 rounds with Jose Cuervo, they were counting me out, and I was about to give in. But after 10 rounds with Jose Cuervo, I lost count and started counting again. Count 'em down. 1 round with Jose Cuervo. I went 2 rounds with Jose Cuervo. We probably should have stopped at 2, I believe. 3 rounds with Jose Cuervo. 5, or was it 4? 4 or 5, something like that. 6 rounds with Jose Cuervo. Now we're back. Hey, how about 8 rounds with Jose Cuervo? Ain't none of you can go 8 rounds with Jose. Ain't no way. 10 rounds with Jose Cuervo. Oh, send me home, Chad, in a cab or an Uber, or put me on a horse. Just don't let me drive. Don't let me drive. Thank you. Once again, Mr. Chad Ware.
Let's do Watermelon Song and after the country.
All right.
All right. Have y'all had a good time tonight? Man, We got a couple more songs we got to get through, but I want to say thank you again to Spencer and the crew at the Stella Hotel, David, Justin, everybody at Lake Walk, Destination Brian, my co-presenters. Thank you guys for being here tonight, and Blue Forge Alliance, thanks for making tonight possible. I hope y'all have had as good a time as I do. I've got the best seat, but we tried to give you the next best seats right here at the Stella Sessions. Thank
Theirs
you
are
guys
definitely
for being
more
here.
comfortable than ours.
Yep, some of these folks down front look pretty comfortable, don't they?
I think she fell asleep a while ago.
All right, so since you already played us the chorus of the Cantaloupe song, why don't you play the sister song to that one?
Ready?
I was driving through Georgia in late July on a day hot enough to make the devil sigh. Saw a homemade sign written in red, Ryan County Watermelon Festival ahead. Well, I wasn't in a hurry, so I slowed down and took a 2-lane road to a one-horse town. Was a party going on when I got there. I heard a welcome speech from a small town man. He said we got 100 gallons of sweet red wine made from the biggest watermelons on the vine. Help yourself to song, but obey the law. If you drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl. Well, when the band started playing, the Watermelon Queen said, let me show you something that you ain't never seen. She grabbed me by the arm, said, come on, let's go. She dipped down, spun around, and do-si-do. She rocked back on her heels and dropped down to her knees, crawled across the floor, then she jumped back on her feet. Wiggled and she jiggled, beat all you ever saw. This is how you do the watermelon crawl. My backup singer, she said we got 100 gallons of sweet red wine made from the biggest watermelons on the vine. Help yourself to some, but obey the law. If you drink, don't drive. Oh, I was gonna let y'all do it. Play it, Jen. All right. If you're ever down in Georgia around about July and you ain't in a hurry, then you ought to stop by. I can guarantee you're gonna have a ball learning how to do the watermelon crawl. I'm not. Well, we got 100 gallons of sweet red wine made from the biggest watermelons on the vine. Help yourself to some, but obey the law. If you drink, don't drive. Do the watermelon crawl. Yeah. They do the watermelon crawl. Yeah, have fun, you all. Come on now. They do the watermelon Sorry, Bree, I just had to do it.
Oh man, have y'all had a good time tonight? Okay, hey, I'm gonna get in big trouble if I don't do this. I need a liner to start the radio show. So
All
if
right.
you'll say, "This is Mark Chestnut and this is real life,
got it.
real music," no.
Hey, folks, this is Mark Chestnut. This is real life, real music.
Okay, one more time, but let's go with Tracy Byrd. Are y'all ready? All right.
Hey, folks, this is Tracy Byrd, and this is real life, real music. Woo, what a
Perfect.
crowd,
That's exactly
man.
what I needed. That's exactly. Hey, Tracy, thank you, man. Thank you for saying yes when I call you on the phone and coming and doing this, man. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
You got to take us out of here with one more big old hit that you had about being from the country. And guys, thank y'all for being here tonight.
All
Appreciate
right. Sing along with this one, everybody. Here we go.
Way back up in the country, back in the hills, down in the hollers where the folks are real, living with the crazies and the wildcats, sawed-off shotguns and coonskin caps. That's where I'm from, and I'm proud to say I'm from the country, and I like it that way. 'Cause everybody knows everybody, everybody calls you friend. You don't need an invitation, no, kick off your shoes, come on in. Yeah, we know how to work and we know how to play. We're from the country and we like it that way. All play.
Y'all give it up for Chad Ware on the guitar over there.
All day long we work in the field and bring it on home to a home-cooked meal. We love you like Sunday but treat you like Saturday night. That's right. And when the beds get full, we can sleep in the hay. Hey, we're from the country and we like it that way. 'Cause everybody knows everybody, everybody calls you friend. You don't need an invitation, now kick off your boots, come on in. Yeah, we know how to work and we know how to play. We're from the country and we like it that way. All one more. How many y'all in here from the country? That's right. Gig 'em. All right, one more time. Here we go. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody calls you friend. You don't need an invitation. Kick off your shoes. Come on in. Come on in. We know how to work and we know how to play. 'Cause we're from the country. We're from the country. We're from the country and we like it that way. Oh, we love it that way now. Thank y'all for being from the country and loving this real life, real music we got going on in here tonight. Woo! 'Cause we know how to work and we know how to play. We're from the country and we like it that way. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tracy Byrd.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Guys, stop by the Raising a Hand booth on the way out. They just texted me and told me they will do a bundle of 3 books for a $100 donation to help cure Rett syndrome. So stop by on your way out there. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Go see Bailey at 6 Whiskey this week.